A man approached us at our pregnancy announcement dinner and congratulated my wife on our second child together. He wasn't talking about my child. I was holding up the ultrasound photo when this guy in a gray suit walked straight to our table. My wife Nina and I had just told our families we were expecting, and everyone was still hugging and crying happy tears. The stranger stopped right next to Nina's chair and smiled down at her like they were old friends. "Congratulations on baby number 2, he said, his voice warm and familiar. "I'm so proud of us." My fork clattered onto my plate. Nina's face drained of color instantly, her hand frozen mid-reach for her water glass. Her mother asked who he was, but the man just kept staring at Nina with this tender expression that made my stomach turn inside out. "I'm David," he said to the table. "Nina and I have a 3-year-old daughter together named Lily. She has your eyes, Nina, just like this new baby will." Nina stood up so fast her chair tipped backward and crashed to the floor. "I don't have a daughter," she said, her voice shaking. "I don't know who you are," but David pulled out his phone like he'd been waiting for this exact moment. He swiped through photos of a little girl with dark curly hair, the same dimples Nina had. "Here's Lily at her 3rd birthday party last month. You sent me this photo, remember? And here's the 2 of you at the park." He turned the screen toward us, and there was Nina on a bench, the little girl on her lap, both of them laughing. My wife had worn that exact sweater just a few weeks ago when she said she was meeting her college roommate for lunch. David kept scrolling. "This is from when we took Lily to the zoo in April. You bought her that stuffed giraffe she sleeps with every night." Every photo looked real. Nina's father stood up, his face red. "This is insane. Nina would never hide a child from us." David's expression shifted to something like hurt confusion. "She didn't hide Lily from you. She just chose to keep our relationship private because she knew her family wouldn't approve of me. But now that there's another baby coming, I thought it was time everyone knew the truth." My hands were shaking as I looked at Nina. She was crying now, gasping for air between sobs. "This isn't real," she kept repeating. None of this is real. But David had an answer for everything. He knew Nina's favorite coffee order was an oat milk latte with vanilla and cinnamon. He knew she had a scar on her ankle from falling off a bike when she was 9. He even knew about the miscarriage she'd had in college that only I was supposed to know about. "How do you know these things?" Nina's sister demanded, stepping between David and our table. David's smile never wavered. "Because Nina and I have been together for 5 years. She met me before she met you," he said, pointing at me. "We had to keep it secret because of my job. I work in classified government operations. That's why there's no paper trail, no social media presence. But Lily is real, and so is our love." He pulled out what looked like a birth certificate with Nina's name listed as the mother. The document looked official, complete with state seals and signatures. That's when my best friend Isaiah, an attorney, walked in from the bathroom and saw the commotion. He'd heard the tail end of David's speech. Isaiah looked at David, then at the photos, then pulled out his own phone. "Nina filed a police report 8 months ago about someone photoshopping her into fake family photos," Isaiah said quietly, scrolling through his email. "She showed them to me because she was scared but didn't want to worry anyone before the wedding." He turned his screen toward David. "These exact photos were in that report. Someone's been digitally inserting her face into stock images and real photos of random children." David's confident smile cracked just slightly. Isaiah continued, his lawyer voice cutting through the tension. "The birth certificate is fake too. I can see the font discrepancy from here. The state seal is from 2019, but the document claims to be from 3 years ago. You didn't even match the correct seal year." David's whole demeanor changed in an instant. "She should have chosen me," he said, his voice flat now. "I've spent years becoming perfect for her, learning everything about her, creating a life we could have had together." He looked at Nina with eyes that made my skin crawl. "You were supposed to see these photos and realize we were meant to be. You were supposed to leave him and come back to me." Nina's voice came out as barely a whisper. "Back to you? I've never met you before in my entire life." David laughed, but it sounded wrong, mechanical. "We met at your cousin's wedding 4 years ago. You smiled at me once while getting punched. That's when I knew. He'd built an entire fake life, a fake child, a fake relationship from a single smile at a wedding." Isaiah was already on the phone with the police, reading off the case number from Nina's previous report. David didn't try to run. He just stood there, staring at Nina like he was waiting for her to change her mind and choose the fantasy he'd constructed. The police arrived within 8 minutes. They found a storage unit under David's name filled with more doctored photos, fake documents for Lily, and journals detailing every place Nina had been for the past 4 years. The detective told us later that David had been following her since that wedding, collecting information, watching from a distance, building an alternate reality in his head where they were a family. As they let him out in handcuffs, he looked back one last time. "Our daughter's name was going to be Lily," he said softly. "I already picked it out."